So I'm delighted to introduce you to Tabitha. She's a business analyst at RDT, who's one of our clients. Really, she's joined us today to share her story and help, and perhaps in particular to help us understand a little bit about what it's like to be on the other side of discrimination. So we're HR people, we're lawyers, we're business people, but let's perhaps hear a little bit from Tabitha. So I've got a set of questions. Okay, so I understand you were a large organisation, large corporation for a long time, and it was there that you transitioned. What was that like? Tell us a bit about that. What was your career in transition?
I was with this company for 18 years in total.
Yeah, so no names.
Yeah, I'm trying not to do that.
Not one of our clients.
I transitioned back in 2008. I basically told my land manager that I was going to transition from male to female. And to be honest, he seemed quite excited about that. Mainly because he thought it'd be fun to watch all the other managers run around like headless chicken. Which didn't put me in a good frame of mind anyway, but we eventually agreed it. But they insisted that I use the disabled loo, which at the time I agreed to, but looking back on it, I wish I hadn't, because that was used against me for years afterwards. I just remember my first day coming to work as female. I think most of my colleagues were pretty good about it. I think they expected it, they'd been briefed. There wasn't much issue there, but one of my colleagues actually came in with a camera and told me, "Oh, my wife wants to know what you look like, so do you mind if I take a photo?" And I basically told him where he could put his camera. But he did it the second day as well. I told my line manager, "Look, this can't go on," and he flatly refused to do anything. And throughout the years I had various managers, and all of them seemed to be reluctant to do anything about this guy. And I think I complained about 10 times until finally something was done. So yeah, the transition could have been better, and I don't think that my line manager or any of the management level of people actually went to HR to discuss it. They just did everything what they thought they had to do.
Did you go to HR? Or did you just do it through your... Yeah.
First of all, I did it through my line manager, but after all the discrimination I was getting from various managers and various colleagues, I went to HR, but I did it in secret because I knew they'd be upset.
So it's interesting when you said they had been briefed, so your colleagues had been briefed.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Were you involved in that?
No, they kind of decided without actually asking me that they had team meetings of every single member of staff saying, "Oh yeah." Except
you.
Except me.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Tabitha's going to be, well, of my old name then, is going to become female. Yeah, just be prepared for that. I don't know what went on in these meetings. They didn't tell me. They wouldn't tell me. It was all done top secret.
Did you ask to be invited? I mean, did they deliberately?
I didn't know they were going on.
Oh wow, okay. What would you have had if you'd been there? What would you have done differently?
I think then I could put my side of the story. Yeah, because like even this isn't further on. I had to have a fight with my manager about which loo to use, which seems ridiculous. Because after a while of having to use the disabled loo, I think I've been using it for 2 years. I just thought, this is ridiculous. I've had enough. So I confronted my line manager, and he went. I confronted him with the guidelines from our company, and he just turned to me as, "Well, they're only guidelines." So I was like, "Right, I'm off to HR." And when HR said, "No, she's got to use the female loos," they went, "Oh, okay. We'll have to have meetings about this then. We've got to let all the staff know." And as soon as I found out that, I was like, "No, you're not."
One of the questions I know people want to ask is around the impact of surgery on absence levels. And even at RDT, we had a bit of a dance around this one, as you know. We've had a question previously on our advice line around whether it's elective surgery, and so it doesn't count as sickness absence. I don't know, maybe this is one for you, Chloe, I don't know. Was that an issue? Did you have a lot of time off?
It's nice you briefed Chloe in advance before I started.
Sorry.
Well, to be honest, that didn't actually affect me because 3 months before I was due to have my surgery, I was made redundant.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm not sure if they kind of picked me for redundancy because they knew I was going to 3 to 6 months off.
Do you think it was related?
Yeah, but I couldn't prove anything.
Okay. Did you take legal advice?
I didn't.
No. We've got friends now, that's fine.
I just thought it was just stirring up things and it wouldn't have done me any good. And I couldn't prove anything.
Were you pleased to go in the end?
At the time, I wasn't because I was nervous about having the operation and then having to recover for so long. So at the time, I was just like petrified. I was really worried, but looking back on it, it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
Okay, so now you've got to find a new job. Applications, interviews, background checks, bit of a minefield, I expect. Tell us about that. Tell us about your experience.
Background checks were fine because I think the background check companies know all about the Equality Act. But when it came to the recruitment process, that really was a minefield, especially on telephone interviews, because if I'm honest, I don't have that feminine a voice. So on the phone, it's even worse. So I get people phoning up, okay, can I speak to Tabitha Adams, please? Right, speaking. Like, no, Tabitha Adams. I'm like, yeah. Is that you? He's like, yeah. Are you sure? So then half the time, just think, well, are you actually listening to what I'm saying, or just going, oh, what do I do now? So that was an issue. So I grew to really hate telephone interviews, but actual face-to-face interviews were better. But then I got to learn that there's certain tells that people have if they're uncomfortable talking to someone who's transgender. So I knew within 5 seconds of walking into the room and saying hello, whether I'd blown that into you or not straight away. You could just tell. In fact, I've heard some friends of mine who are transgender as well. One of them was interviewed by someone who couldn't even look them in the eye. So there is still discrimination out there.
Yeah.
They can't.
What do you think that comes from? Is that lack of knowledge? Is that just lack of experience, or?
I think it's lack of knowledge and being confronted with the unknown. I think everyone's kind of scared of being confronted with something that's unknown to them. They don't know how to react. They've never come across that before. And so some people take it in their stride. Some people just find it really difficult to overcome. And I guess there is some discrimination there as well.
I know when you came up and we looked at your LinkedIn profile, Emma said, I found a business analyst. And I looked over and said, I can't have her, she's too pretty. So that's probably my discrimination. But how was it when you interviewed at RDT?
Actually, the interview at RDT was probably one of the best interviews I've ever had, because I was interviewed by 2 people at RDT, one after the other. And I didn't mention my transgender status in my first interview, but in my second interview I deliberately made a point of it.
And was that different? Was that you being different to other interviews, or was it because you felt comfortable that you could?
I think I felt more comfortable that I could, because at that point I'd already been given offered another job.
Right, okay, so that's interesting.
I didn't have anything to lose. But I think before I kind of tried to hide it, because I had that much more to lose, and I thought that was the thing to do.
Do you think they thought they were taking a risk? Do you think they thought they were taking a risk, yes?
I definitely know they thought they were taking a risk.
Yeah. Actually, the biggest problem was that you lived in Brighton. It was quite a long way away. If I'm honest. They were worried about the journey.
I don't know about that.
Yes.
It's true.
Yeah. So, okay, so you've got through that interview, you've joined the company, predominantly male, insurance, technology, big time boy things. Very few numbers of women anyway. It's quite daunting for any woman joining the organisation. How did you think you were received?
I think they just treated me like any other female, to be honest, at RD2. Which
Which is what you want.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want.
Yeah,
Yes.
so, yeah, you confront misogyny, but over the years, because of all the fights I've had to have because of being transgender, I've grown quite a thick skin, and I give as good as I get, and I guess they weren't used to that. So, yeah.
Did everybody know when you joined? Like, had they had a briefing again?
No.
and stuff like that?
No, I don't think so.
No,
No.
we wouldn't have done that.
In fact,
No.
a few people were shocked when I told them.
This is exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I am quite open about being transgender, because I kind of see, I almost bring it upon myself to kind of educate people on that, because a lot of people have never met someone who's transgender before, or aren't aware that they've met someone who's transgender.
Okay, that's good. I mean, it's a very diverse environment. It's a tech environment, so it's very diverse generally. That's good to hear. It's really good to hear that it kind of wasn't an issue and able to see through, this is a business analyst. That's what we need, and that's what you are.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so thinking back, has there been any unexpected obstacles that you know, there's probably some that you could have expected. Interviewing might be a bit tricky, telephone interviewing, but anything that you were surprised at?
I think the biggest surprise was when I first transitioned, people were on their best behaviour, but as time went on, it's kind of like they were poking to see how far they could push. So I encountered quite a lot of bigotry. Instead of getting better as time went on, it got worse, because they could see how far they could push things. If they got away with it, they'd push a bit further. So that was a bit of a surprise, and trying to mitigate that was a whole another minefield, because all the literature about being transgender at the workplace seems to concentrate on the transition, but not what comes afterwards.
Interesting. And is it different working in the workplace as a man, as a woman?
Totally different. Totally different. I
How?
think as a man, people listen to you more.
Your badges were.
And as female, I've noticed that since coming out as female, people talk over me more often. Really.
Fascinating.
Say it for years.
Okay,
Although the
so
first time somebody opened the door for me, I did laugh. Never had that before.
that's quite nice. That is quite nice. Okay, so Tabitha, you have a captured audience here, caged HR people and business owners. What do you think we can do to attract and retain the best people without discriminating?
I just think it's a matter of education. I mean, being transgender is quite rare even these days, even though it's in the media more and more. There's high profile people like Caitlyn Jenner, even though I can't stand her myself.
Yeah, so do people feel you ought to like her?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why
Yeah.
would you? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, she's Republican for starters. And Kelly Maloney, she's quite good. But I just think it's a matter of education. Also a matter of exposure as well. I think that people aren't exposed to transgender people, or aren't exposed to those issues, or unaware of the bigotry we have to face.
Any questions?
I've got one. When you were filling out your application form, did they have a box that said transgender? Or
No.
was it
Male
you're
or
either male or female?
Either male or female.
We did have an issue with the booper form, didn't we?
Yes.
We did have that said gender at birth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it said sex at birth, didn't it?
Was it? Right,
Something like
okay.
that. Yeah, and I
okay.
refused to sign
Yeah.
it. Well,
And then
I'm
we
not
found out we
feeling
had an old form. So, okay, fair play, booper. But that was a bit of a shock. And we've been filling that forms in for years.
Yeah.
We've never noticed it.
Because with the rise of non-binary people coming up, I just think that's going to be a bigger issue in years to come. Because it seems like the use of today is like, I'm not male or female, I'm somewhere in between. So they don't like saying they're male or female.
Right, okay.
Like, it's another minefield.
Yeah.
I filled in a form recently and the options were male, female, rather not say.
Yeah. It is interesting though. I think sometimes it takes a generation, doesn't it? I was talking to my daughter this morning, who's 12, in the car, and I was telling her what I was doing, and I said, "Do you know what a transgender person is?" She was like, "Yes, Mummy." Yeah, of course I do. I think I'm 5.
When I was that young, I didn't have a clue.
No. So I think the education is getting better. I think people are becoming more aware.
Can I ask a question of Tabitha?
Yeah, sure.
On the education side, do you think that part of the reason for the bigotry and the lack of understanding of transgender issues is that many people think that it's a matter of choice?
I think a lot of people do. And I don't think the media helps. Quite a lot of the newspapers are quite anti-transgender.
It's always struck me when reading in the media that the perception seems to be that someone almost had a choice about a transgender person, always has made the choice to be a woman rather than a man, and there's a lack of understanding.
I encounter that a lot. It's not a choice. I mean, why would you choose to be discriminated against? I've known since I'm probably 4 years old or even younger.
I suppose that brings me back round to that elective surgery thing, and I wasn't thinking about transgender, I was thinking about cosmetic surgery. If that's elective and people want to have time off for that, does that go down as sickness or holiday?
Bit of a minefield.
Is it?
I think it depends on policy. It depends on lots of different
Yeah,
things.
because when I had cosmetic surgery, I took time off using my holiday.
And at RDT, how do you think they've achieved this openness about diversity? Is it something that's driven by HR, or is it something that is culturally already instilled in the people that work there? Is it an action that you've, what do you think?
I think at RDT the focus is on the work. So if you can do the job, they don't care who you are. If you can do the job, fine. That's what it boils down to.
I think it's always a combination of things. Culture, you can edge, you can move, but if you've got some good grounding around it, then you've got a better platform, I suppose.
You said RDT is very diverse as well anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there is a tech company, so we could do with a few more women. But that's a sector issue, not an RDT issue. So.
Megan has done a lot of work in this area over the years. Some really complex cases. In fact, it's quite fascinating how many cases over the years, how many times this has come up. Because a lot of organisations, this is why it's just happening everywhere else. It doesn't happen. It's not to be relevant to my organisation. Well, discrimination issues are relevant to every organisation. Certainly, these very similar issues to this have been raised so many times with so many employers we've acted for over the years. Lou's always being the first question, always actually. Have any of the lawyers got thoughts on that gender dysphoria issue around pay?
I wouldn't have thought, I wouldn't have compared it at all to cosmetic surgery.
No.
And as you say, if it's arising out of gender dysphoria or arising, would that perhaps in some way be seen as a medical condition and therefore, I wouldn't have treated it as something that you'd necessarily take your holiday for. The case I dealt with, the lady hadn't taken the elective surgery, so I didn't deal with that particular point. But yes, I think I would certainly not treat it as you would elective surgery, where people often take holiday, as you were saying, for elective surgery. I wouldn't treat it as that type of absence. No.
Go on, sorry.
Well, gender reassignment is a protected characteristic.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Going to say, well,
Yeah.
you can't take the absence.
No, I think the fact that the protection emerges in law at the point at which you make a decision to begin that journey effectively. It doesn't emerge in law at the point of having surgery, or even at the point of deciding to be public about that. So it actually arises quite early. And the other factor there, of course, is holiday arrangements differ fairly dramatically from organisation to organisation, and what actually gets paid for sickness in many organisations is statutory sick pay in any event. So, to some extent, these issues probably are more likely to come up through the policy of an employer if they say that they will only pay for certain categories of surgery. But I guess our view, therefore, would be that if you treated it differently from a surgery that was for another recognised medical condition, then you would be on pretty ropey territory.
Out of interest, how long did you? I know you obviously weren't off at the time because you weren't. I think you weren't in employment, weren't you? When you had your
No, I was
surgery?
unemployed at the time.
You were employed at the time, so
Unemployed.
So, but how long did the surgery take? Then recovering from the surgery take?
I think in total it was about 6 months.
6 months. Wow.
So if you had been in employment in that time, you would have had to have taken that entire time off, or do you think you would have been able to work part-time, had a phased return?
I think I could have had a phased return within that time. But because I could give myself that amount of time and I just got a huge redundancy payout.
Why work?
Any other issues, questions that people would like to ask? Like either of Tabitha and Fiona or of the lawyers at the moment.
Can I just ask, when you faced the bigotry, did it come evenly from male and female colleagues, or was it more from male colleagues or more from female colleagues?
Do you know something surprisingly? It came from both.
From both?
Yeah.
It sort of equally
It
almost?
equaled out.
Yeah.
Especially when it came to the toilet issue.
That was driven by your female colleagues?
Actually, in our experience, most of the objections on the toilet issue, where the transition has been from male to female, almost all of the objections have come from female colleagues. I've dealt with this.
Isn't it?
I know. Well, I say I know. I think it is very interesting that certainly as a male lawyer, you sit there and you think, what? You're all in cubicles? What's that? But yeah, so I think it's been a really fascinating session, and I think it's very, very much appreciate the time you've given and the candour, the openness of sharing your thoughts. I think one thing that really struck me was the exposure to gender difference, which is what the same person experiences as a man and then experiences as a woman, and that really comes up actually, to be honest, and that highlights something, which is that you said earlier as well, you were most successful when you didn't have a lot to lose, which was when you already had a job in the bag, and in a way that's kind of the essence of discrimination, isn't it? Which is domination in a situation by a person where another person has more to lose, and we can all experience that at different times, and we can all counter that in the way we behave, and culturally, how as an organisation are we ever going to get real value out of people, the best we can get out of people, if some people are in a position to dominate others so that actually they won't take sensible, reasonable risk. We want workforces that are prepared to take risk, take measured risk, sensible risk, and to pick up a challenge. And if individuals feel dominated by others in the workforce, even just by gender alone, then you're not going to get the best out of people, and that's fascinating and really challenging.